The True Value Company is an independent retail chain of hardware stores that started in 1948. Thank you for your suggestion.
Now that you're ready to get down to work, True Value hardware stores have down-to-earth prices on household cleaning supplies. Like this 10-quart plastic utility pail, now just 99 cents. And your choice of True Value lawn and leaf or trash bags, a pack of 15 for just $2.88. You can use them to line this 32-gallon True Value trash can, only $12.88. And get a 20-pound box of True Test concentrated laundry detergent, only $9.99 at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
In 1948, John Cotter, a veteran hardware salesman from St. Paul, Minnesota, created Cotter & Company, a wholesaler that supplied a cooperative of 25 hardware retailers in Illinois and other Midwestern states. The collective of companies that Cotter would eventually bring together had roots that go as far back as the mid-1800s. Some of these companies included Hibbard, Spencer, Bartlett & Company, a hardware wholesaler that eventually developed the True Value name, which was founded in 1855. American Hardware and Supply Company, the precursor of Service Star Corporation and the first wholesale hardware cooperative in the United States, was established in 1910, and Coast to Coast Corporation grew from a wholesale hardware cooperative formed in 1928. Many small independent hardware stores decided to form a nonprofit cooperative that would serve as their own wholesaler and distributor. As members of a co-op, they could pool their buying power to negotiate better prices for hardware from manufacturers and then sell the merchandise with a small markup to themselves and other hardware dealers who own the shares of the co-op. The three major companies, as mentioned before, would serve as the foundation for the collective that would lead to the fourth company coming onto the scene in 1948. John Cotter, at a time when he was a young hardware clerk, came up with the idea for the enterprise. He believed the way to prosperity for independent hardware retailers was through ownership of their own professionally run, low-cost distribution and merchandising organization. In July of 1947, Cotter and Ed Langtot met with 12 local hardware merchants and proposed the organization of a wholesale company that would be owned by its member merchants. John Cotter and 12 hardware dealers founded Cotter & Company in Sycamore, Illinois, and the new wholesale cooperative opened for business in January of 1948. Operating out of a rented warehouse in Chicago, Cotter & Company offered hardware merchandise at attractive prices, a bare-bones warehouse operation, semi-annual dealer markets, consumer advertising, and merchandising help for the retailer. During this time, Hibbard, Spencer, Bartlett & Company, which was not a cooperative, was increasing its marketing activities throughout the Midwest. In 1932, Hibbard's introduced a new private brand line of hand tools under the True Value label, kind of like the Craftsman brand tools found at Sears. In the 1950s, Hibbard's acquired several smaller wholesalers around the Midwest and started a voluntary chain of franchise dealers who bought most of their merchandise from Hibbard's and used the company's True Value ads and promotions. Deciding to concentrate on the True Value franchise, Hibbard stopped selling to thousands of small accounts and laid off many of its salesmen. Hibbard's underwent another change as well during the 1950s. As it bought up rival wholesalers, the company went after their real estate, not their hardware business. In 1962, the board of directors decided to liquidate the hardware business and focus on real estate. Around the same time, Cotter & Company, which sold through catalogs, had about 200 employees and $20 million in annual sales by the beginning of the 1960s, when the retail network had expanded to about 500 stores. In 1963, Cotter spent $2.5 million to acquire the hardware operations and True Value trademark from Hibbard, Spencer, and Bartlett, including $2,500 for the True Value trademark, This brought 400 new retailers into the Cotter cooperative and doubled the size of the business. Cotter & Company honed its true value advertising and store programs, setting a model for low-cost distributors and helping to keep independent hardware retailers competitive with discounted chain stores. In 1966, the company's sales topped $100 million, making it the largest hardware distributor in the country. Cotter's success and the company's methods were felt beyond the Midwest. In 1977, the company instituted its Service Star advertising program, planning to create a voluntary chain of owner dealers. By the end of the 1970s, after 15 years of expansion, American had increased the number of members to 3,500 and had sales of slightly over $300 million. Sales volume at Cotter & Company topped $1 billion in 1979. American's Service Star program was completely voluntary. When American introduced the Service Star concept, the approach was simply to get the Service Star sign in the window. Service Star private label program included plumbing and electrical equipment, as well as items such as brooms and garbage cans, along with more familiar paint and paint sundries. By 1983, some 2,100 of American's owners' dealers displayed the Service Star sign. The company began making large advertising investments, about $10 million in 1985, using magazines, newspapers, circulars, and television ads to actually sell the product. By 1987, the company had sales of $1.1 billion and nearly 4,000 hardware, lumber, rental, and home and garden centers across the country. In 1988, in recognition of the growing diversity of its business, American changed its corporate name to Service Star Corporation. In 1989, John Cotter died at the age of 85, having built Cotter & Company into a $2.1 billion company with over 8,000 members. By the 1990s, another transformation was occurring in the industry as independent neighborhood dealers began losing customers to giant home improvement chains such as Lowe's and Home Depot, and Sears began opening freestanding hardware and paint stores that were smaller than the superstores but larger than most independents and offered well-known brand names. Service Star expanded westward, gaining members in the Northwest and the Rocky Mountain states, and strengthened services for its different niche markets. In July of 1990, Service Star merged with Denver-based Coast to Coast to form a $1.8 billion international co-op. In 1993, Service Star Coast to Coast added to its rental business with the purchase of 288 units of Taylor Rental Corp. The Taylor stores in the company's 260 Grand Rental Station locations made Service Star the largest general rental chain in the United States. In 1994, Cotter established the True Value International, an independently operated division based in Georgia, to serve stores outside the United States. In 1997, Induserve Corporation was formed by the merger of Cotter & Company and Service Star Coast to Coast Corporation. During a 1999 audit, accounting irregularities topping out at $100 million was discovered, leading to a $131 million loss that year. Problems also arose with their merger, leaving the company with 3 different inventory tracking systems. Orders began to be left unfilled, causing members to become disgruntled and leading them to search for new suppliers. As a result, over 2,100 stores left the Induserve Co-op by 2001. Lackluster sales, increased competition, and lawsuits relating to the accounting mishap continued to plague the company in the 2000s. During 2000, Induserve sold its lumber and building materials business. The company also shuttered its Canadian operations and initiated a series of job cuts. Induserve adopted the True Value corporate moniker in early 2005. In 2018, an international private equity investment firm called ACON purchased True Value, and on November 1st, 2022, True Value acquired the Agway trademark from Agway Farm and Home Supply. Today, the True Value company has over 4,500 independent retail locations worldwide in over 60 countries. So what do you remember about this place? Leave a comment or a suggestion for a future video below. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Another Eric C. production.